My ex-husband, Adrian Cole, and his wealthy friends recently started a twisted little game they called the Bankruptcy Trial. For 1 full month, they would pretend to lose everything. No money, no status, no connections, no safety net. The purpose was simple. They wanted to see which women would stay once the luxury disappeared. They planned it carefully. Business partners announced fake financial collapse. Leadership changes were staged. Rumors of debt spread quietly through their social circles. Friends, family members, even people who worked closely with them agreed to play along. Adrian showed up at Vanessa Hart's high-rise wearing a $5 t-shirt and dusty work boots, looking like someone who had just been laid off from a construction site. He went to the woman he once called the love of his life, and she lost her mind. She yelled at him in the lobby, accused him of being useless, said she wasn't about to support a grown man who couldn't provide. Security escorted him out while residents pretended not to stare. He sat outside on the sidewalk for almost an hour. Then he called me. When the phone rang, I was in the kitchen frosting Lily's birthday cake. Pink icing, too much glitter. She insisted on both. My 4-year-old had my phone in her hands, playing a game while I worked. She answered before I could stop her. I didn't hear Adrian's voice at first, but I saw Lily's face change. Her eyes widened. Then she lit up like someone had just handed her a miracle. She ran toward me so fast one of her sneakers flew off behind her. "Mommy!" she yelled. "Daddy went broke. That means he can come to my birthday this year." I froze. The contact name on my screen still said, Adrian, do not answer. The last time he called was Christmas. He only contacted me during holidays, not because he missed us, because his parents liked pretending we were still one happy family. We would show up together, smile, hold hands in front of them, let them take pictures. As soon as the performance ended, he'd drop my hand at the door and drive back to Vanessa. I would stand there holding the $2,000 he paid me for the act. I never cried about it. That money covered half a year of rent. So when I heard he was broke, my first reaction wasn't sympathy. It was confusion. Why wasn't he calling Vanessa? His voice sounded different, smaller. "Rachel," he said carefully, "I don't have anywhere to go. I haven't eaten all day. Can I stay with you?" I was ready to refuse. Then Lily grabbed my skirt. Her eyes were wide and hopeful in that fragile way children look when they're about to believe in something dangerous. "Please, Mommy, just this once. It's my birthday. Other kids have their dads." That hurt. Lily always wanted her father around. And to be fair, Adrian used to be good with her. He took her to theme parks, bought her princess dresses, expensive toys I could never afford, until one day she came home quiet. Too quiet. She told me she wouldn't bother Daddy anymore. I remember driving straight to his villa that night. I remember shaking. I remember confronting Vanessa in a way that didn't feel like me at all. After that, Adrian stopped asking about Lily, but today was her birthday. And all she wanted was both parents in the same room. "She misses you," I said finally. "You can come for dinner." He exhaled like someone who had just been rescued. He asked if I still lived at Mirador Heights. I went silent. I had never lived there. Lily and I rented a small apartment in the Garden District, close to her preschool. Food trucks lined the street at night. Drunk karaoke echoed from the bar on the corner. It wasn't glamorous, but it was ours. There was a long pause before he asked for the address. When Adrian walked in later that evening, even dressed like someone who had lost everything, he still carried himself like money. Lily ran to him and wrapped her arms around his legs. He hugged her, kissed her hair, but his eyes scanned the apartment, carefully, judging. "Is this where you've been living?" he asked. The apartment was spotless, warm, every piece of furniture chosen by Lily and paid for by me. She had never once felt poor here. But compared to his mansion, it offended him. "5 minutes ago you were begging to sleep here," I said evenly. "Now you're looking down on it?" He stiffened, then seemed to remember he was supposed to be bankrupt. He sat down awkwardly. "Why aren't you living in the condo I bought you after the divorce?" I stared at him. "What condo?" He frowned. "I told Ethan to buy you a place at Mirador and transfer $10 million as your settlement." $10 million. The words felt unreal. I left that marriage with 1 suitcase and a newborn. I survived by selling the jewelry his parents had given me. "I never received anything," I said slowly. His expression changed. "Rachel, even if I didn't love you the way you loved me, I wouldn't abandon my own child. You did." For 4 years, his anger became my reality. 3 jobs, no sleep. Delivering food in the snow, coming home with numb fingers and swollen feet, no husband, no parents, no safety net. And now he was sitting in my kitchen telling me there had been $10 million? He pulled out his phone immediately. His tone shifted, cold, controlled. Ethan, 4 years ago, the Mirador condo and the 10 million transfer. Were they delivered personally? There was hesitation. Then Ethan answered carefully. Vanessa said she would take care of it. The air in the room changed. Vanessa already had everything. If she stole my daughter's future too, she had made a mistake. Because I don't lose twice. At 7 o'clock, I brought out Lily's cake. She screamed and hugged me. Mommy, you're the best. I love you. Adrian smiled, but his phone kept lighting up. I knew what he was thinking. It was Vanessa's birthday too. Every year before this, he spent it with her. Not a coincidence that my daughter and that woman shared the same date. For the first time since walking in, he didn't look confident. He looked uncertain, and I realized something. If this was a game, he might have just lost. Adrian barely touched the cake. Lily didn't notice. She was too busy smiling, too busy finally having both her parents at the same table. She handed him the second slice proudly. Dad, this is my first birthday with you, she said. I'm really happy. He forced a smile and put his phone face down, but I knew where his mind was. For 4 years, this day belonged to Vanessa, not my daughter. When dinner ended, I didn't pretend. You should go, I told him. He looked up slowly. I don't have anywhere. That's not my responsibility. The hallway light flickered as he stepped outside. He stood there longer than necessary, like he expected me to call him back. I didn't. Later that night, after Lily fell asleep with frosting still on her cheek, my phone buzzed. Unknown number, I answered. It was him. I went to Vanessa, he admitted. I didn't ask for details. He kept talking anyway. He said she thought it was a joke at first, thought the fake bankruptcy was part of some surprise. Then someone in their private group chat mentioned the company drowning in debt, suggested she sell one of her properties to help him survive. She was removed from the chat minutes later. Yesterday she was family. Today she was disposable. According to Adrian, her tone changed fast. She said his problems weren't hers. Asked if they were married. Asked if his parents ever accepted her. Asked why she should sell anything for a man who couldn't even protect himself. He sounded hollow while telling me this. I gave her everything, he said quietly, except my last name. I didn't feel sorry for him. You left your wife and daughter for her, I reminded him. I know, but that wasn't the worst part. His voice lowered when he told me what happened next. Vanessa admitted she had studied him before they ever started dating, learned his habits, pretended to like his hobbies, memorized what kind of woman he thought was his soulmate. Every romantic coincidence? Planned? Every shared interest? Rehearsed. She told him she stayed 4 years because it was profitable. Then she said something that made my hands shake even hearing it secondhand. She admitted she had sent me those photos on purpose. The hotel rooms, the gifts, the dinners, even the ones taken while I was 9 months pregnant. She knew stress would break me. She just didn't expect it to take so long. I remembered that hospital room. The early contractions, the bleeding, the fear that my daughter wouldn't survive. I remembered hearing laughter from the hallway, and now I knew it was intentional. Adrian told me he lost control when she said that. Security dragged him out again. Silence filled my apartment after he finished. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because I didn't know, he said. Not all of it. I almost laughed. You didn't want to know. There's a difference. The next morning at 7:20 a.m., I opened the door to take Lily to preschool. Adrian was lying against the hallway wall. He had slept there. I stepped over him without a word. Lily giggled and jumped lightly over his legs. He woke up instantly and grabbed her hand on instinct. I lifted my arm to stop him, but Lily looked up at him with a serious expression I'd never seen before. Dad, she said, can you stand at the school gate today? I want everyone to know I have a dad. Then they won't say bad things about Mommy. My throat tightened. Adrian's face changed. Something cracked there. He picked her up carefully. Not just today, he said softly. From now on. I didn't comment. At the preschool entrance, he stood out immediately. Tall, over 6 feet. Even in cheap clothes, he looked expensive. Parents whispered. Children stared. I ignored all of it. I didn't want him back, but I needed him. If Vanessa had taken that condo and the settlement money, I wasn't walking away from it. We took the bus afterward. Adrian had clearly never used public transportation in his life. When the bus jerked forward, he lost balance and nearly fell face first into the aisle. I didn't help him. He followed me like someone trying to relearn gravity. When we arrived at Mirador Heights, I felt my pulse in my ears. The building was everything I imagined $10 million would look like. Marble floors, polished glass, quiet air, and someone else was living in the unit. An elderly couple opened the door. The moment they saw Adrian, they pulled him inside quickly. I stepped in behind them. They were Vanessa's parents. Adrian went pale. The condo was massive, over 3,000 square feet. Smart appliances, 10 bedrooms, everything spotless. Even their dog had its own bedroom. Meanwhile, Lily and I shared 150 square feet, bunk beds to save space. My hands started shaking. 4 years. 4 years of exhaustion. I worked until my arms felt numb in a tea shop chopping fruit, delivered food at night, slept in my clothes, woke up exhausted and did it again. I crouched down suddenly, struggling to breathe. Everything hit me at once. The first year after the divorce had nearly broken me. No one wanted to hire a single mother with a 3-month-old baby. I took daily labor jobs in unsafe places. Lily got sick constantly. Money disappeared as fast as it came. I survived on caffeine and stubbornness. Adrian caught me before I fell. "Rachel, breathe," he said urgently. For a second, I was back in childhood. When boys bullied me for being an orphan, Adrian used to fight them off. I would clean his scraped knuckles afterward. He promised he'd protect me forever. Later, he became the reason I needed protection. He lifted me, panicking, saying we should go to the hospital. I pointed weakly across the street. "Milk tea," I whispered. "Half sugar." He looked confused, but he went. After half a cup, my hands stopped shaking. Low blood sugar from stress. I knew my body. He stared at me like he was seeing someone he didn't understand anymore. "I'll take you somewhere proper to eat," he said. He tried walking into an upscale restaurant nearby out of habit. I pulled him back. "You're bankrupt," I reminded him. He stiffened, remembering his role. We ate at a small diner instead. He studied the menu like it was written in another language. Then he devoured 2 bowls of rice and cheap meat like he hadn't eaten in days. Afterward, I looked at him directly. "Call Ethan again. Ask whose name is on the deed." He did. A few seconds later, he nodded slowly. "It's under your name. And Lily's." For the first time in 4 years, I felt steady. We walked straight to the property office. I reported the deed as lost. 40 minutes later, a new copy was printed. Rachel Bennett and Lily Bennett. I held the red folder tightly. Then I stopped by an electronics store. An hour later, I was knocking on that condo door again. "Sir, ma'am," I said calmly when they opened it. "This property belongs to my daughter and me. Your daughter has occupied it illegally for 4 years. I need you to move out." They weren't cruel people, just embarrassed. They called Vanessa immediately. Their faces lost color as they realized what had happened, and for the first time, I saw fear. Vanessa arrived 20 minutes later. She walked in like she still owned the place. Designer sunglasses, perfect posture, no apology in her face. Her parents were standing in the living room holding the printed deed with my name on it. The air felt tight, heavy. "What is this?" she demanded. Her father's hands were shaking. "Vanessa, did you take this home from someone else?" She didn't look at him. She looked at me. "So, you finally figured it out," she said calmly. Adrian stood behind me, silent. "You told Ethan you'd handle the transfer," he said. "I did," she replied. "I handled it." Her mother started crying quietly. "We thought you bought this for us. You said Adrian gave it to you." Vanessa's jaw tightened. "He gave me plenty." I stepped forward. "That condo was meant for my daughter." She laughed under her breath. "You survived without it." For a moment, I saw red. 4 years of exhaustion, 3 jobs, sleepless nights, Lily's fevers, delivering food in freezing weather, choosing between rent and groceries. "You stole $10 million too," I said evenly. That made her blink. "Be careful with accusations." Adrian looked at her sharply. "Did you take the settlement?" She hesitated. That was answer enough. Her father pressed his hand to his chest. "Vanessa, tell me you didn't." She finally snapped. "Fine, yes, I took it. He wasn't going to check. He never checks anything. And she pointed at me, wasn't supposed to matter." The room went silent. Adrian looked like someone had drained the color from him. "She was my wife," he said quietly. "And you left her." Vanessa shot back. "Don't act innocent now." I pulled my phone from my bag. "I kept every message you ever sent me," I said. Her smile faltered. I opened the screenshots, hotel photos, jewelry, Captions mocking my pregnancy, texts sent the night I went into early labor. Her mother gasped as she read them. "You did this?" she whispered. Vanessa's voice turned cold. "I did what I had to do." "You pushed a pregnant woman into stress on purpose," her father said hoarsely. "She was weak," Vanessa replied. "If not me, someone else." Adrian took a step toward her. "You told me you loved me. I loved what you could give me." That was it. Something changed in him. He didn't shout, didn't explode. His voice just went flat. "You need to leave," he said. "All of you." Her parents looked devastated. They apologized to me, repeatedly. They started packing immediately. Vanessa didn't move. She folded her arms. "You think you've won?" she asked me. "I still have 4 properties. 2 cars, 20 million in savings. You have what? A rented apartment and pride?" She stepped closer. "Even now he's here because I rejected him first." That stung more than I expected, because part of it was true. Adrian chose to come to me after she threw him away, not before. But I didn't look away. "You didn't just steal money," I said. "You stole years," she smirked. "You should thank me. Without me, you'd still be his obedient wife." Her father suddenly slapped her, hard. The sound echoed. Her mother burst into tears. Vanessa touched her cheek slowly, stunned. "You embarrassed us," her father said, voice breaking. "We raised you better than this." "You raised me to marry rich," she snapped back. "Don't pretend otherwise." I watched them unravel. I didn't feel satisfied, just tired. "I'm giving you 3 days," I said calmly. "Return the 10 million, transfer back anything that was never yours, or I move forward legally." Vanessa narrowed her eyes. "You don't have the power," Adrian answered before I could. "Yes, she does." She looked at him in disbelief. "You're siding with her?" "I'm siding with what's right," she laughed bitterly. "Now you grow a conscience?" He didn't respond. That silence hurt her more than any insult. Before leaving, she leaned close to me. "You think he came back because he loves you?" she whispered. "He's testing you." My stomach dropped. "What?" She smiled faintly. "You'll see." Then she walked out. That night, back at my apartment, I couldn't sleep. Testing. The word wouldn't leave my head. Adrian was on the couch. Lily was asleep. I walked into the living room. "What did she mean?" I asked. He looked up slowly. "What?" "She said this is a test." He hesitated. Too long. My chest tightened. "Adrian," he rubbed his face. "My friends and I," he began. "We created this bankruptcy trial to see who would stay." There it was. "So this is fake?" I asked. He nodded. "We're not actually broke." I stared at him. All the humiliation, the bus ride, the cheap diner, the sleeping in the hallway, all of it staged. "You tested her," I said slowly. "And you." The word hit harder than anything Vanessa said. "You thought I'd leave?" I asked quietly. "I didn't know," he admitted. "After everything I did, I didn't know if you'd help me." I laughed once. Not amused. "You left me with nothing. And you're testing my loyalty?" His voice cracked slightly. "I needed to know if anyone loved me without the money." "You already knew I did," I said. He looked down. That was the truth. For years I loved him without anything in return. He swallowed. If Vanessa had stayed, if she had supported me, I would have married her. The honesty was brutal. I nodded slowly. "And if she passed, you wouldn't have called me." He didn't answer. Because he couldn't. Silence stretched between us. Finally I said, "So what do I win for passing?" He looked confused. "What?" "You said it's a trial. There's a reward, right?" He hesitated. "A pink diamond necklace. Worth 5 million. Of course. Men like him didn't test loyalty without turning it into a bet." I stepped closer. "Then I helped you win," I said calmly. "If you win, it's mine." For the first time all day. I smiled. Adrian didn't laugh when I said I wanted the necklace. He studied me like he was trying to understand something new. "You're serious?" he asked. "Completely." He let out a slow breath. "If I win, it's yours." I nodded once. Good. Because I was done being the woman who survived on scraps while everyone else played games with millions. The next morning, he woke up early, made breakfast, braided Lily's hair badly, but tried anyway. She giggled the whole time. I watched quietly from the kitchen. He looked different without the confidence money used to give him. Softer, careful, almost nervous around us. When we returned to the condo to oversee Vanessa's move-out process, Things escalated faster than I expected. Someone had recorded part of yesterday's confrontation. An edited clip started spreading online that afternoon. It showed Vanessa's parents kneeling, me standing in front of them. No context, no explanation. By evening, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Strangers calling me heartless, saying I forced elderly people to beg. Vanessa went live on social media with a bruised cheek and teary eyes. She claimed I threatened her, claimed I demanded $10 million to stay silent. And somehow, my address was leaked. By nightfall, people were outside the condo building, yelling, throwing trash. Lily started crying when someone banged on the door. Adrian locked it and stood in front of her bedroom like a shield. "I'll handle it," he said. But I was already thinking 3 steps ahead. 4 years of being pushed around had taught me one thing: always keep proof. The electronics store hadn't just been for show. I had installed a small hidden camera in my bag before confronting Vanessa. The full, unedited 3-hour video was saved. While Adrian tried to calm Lily, I created a new account, uploaded everything. No cuts, no filters, just the truth. Vanessa admitting she took the condo, admitting she intercepted the settlement, admitting she sent me messages to stress me during pregnancy. The internet turned within hours. The same people who called me cruel now flooded the comments with anger directed at her. She stole from a child? She bragged about pushing a pregnant woman into early labor? Return the money. Her live stream disappeared. Her comment section exploded, but I wasn't finished. I posted every screenshot she had ever sent me. 4 years of humiliation. 4 years of cruelty. I explained the jobs I worked, the nights Lily had fevers, the fact that the condo legally belonged to us. The support surprised me. Strangers defended me. Some even admitted they had joined the harassment earlier without knowing the full story. By the next morning, the crowd outside had changed. Now they were shouting at her unit, holding signs, demanding she return what wasn't hers. Her parents left the building quietly that afternoon. Within 48 hours, Vanessa sent me a message. "Can we talk?" I didn't respond. Instead, I sent a short reply. "Transfer the $10 million, plus everything spent before the divorce that belonged to my settlement, and post a public apology." 3 days later, $12 million appeared in my account, and a video apology followed. She looked exhausted, defeated, but even then, she never truly sounded sorry. She sounded cornered. I posted a final statement saying the matter was resolved. The online chaos slowly calmed. Adrian, however, didn't look relieved. He looked shattered. That night, after Lily went to sleep in her new bedroom, larger than our entire old apartment, he sat at the kitchen counter staring at his phone. "I ruined everything," he muttered. "You chose everything," I corrected. He nodded. The next day, he surprised me. He posted his own public statement, admitting the affair, admitting he was weak, admitting he allowed Vanessa to hurt his wife and daughter. He didn't blame her. He blamed himself. Half the internet dragged him. The other half said they would watch his actions. After that, he became attentive, too attentive. He washed my hair when I came home exhausted, cut fruit for Lily, folded laundry, hovered. It wasn't romantic. It was guilt. One evening, I poured him a drink. "Do you know why Vanessa dared to steal from us?" I asked. "Because she's greedy," he said. I shook my head. "Because there were never consequences." He didn't argue. 2 days later, he filed formal claims to recover every property he had placed in her name. Houses, cars, investments. His legal team moved aggressively. Vanessa's assets began disappearing. Within weeks, she was the one drowning. She even reached out offering $50 million as a settlement to make everything stop. I declined. "I don't want your life destroyed," I told her. "I want accountability." Adrian was stunned when he found out I refused. "You could have taken it." "I don't need that much. The truth? I didn't need revenge anymore. I needed stability." Later that week, Adrian admitted something else. The bankruptcy trial. It had a group chat. All his wealthy friends reporting progress, comparing which women passed, which failed. The group name? True Hearts. I almost laughed. True Hearts measured by fake poverty and diamond bets. He showed me the chat. Messages praising him for winning. One friend wrote, "You found a diamond in the dirt." Another said, "She refused money. That's loyalty." They thought I refused because of love. They had no idea I was calculating. Adrian finally confessed fully. If Vanessa had stayed loyal, I would have married her. The honesty no longer hurt. It clarified. "And now?" I asked. "I want my family back. Family. Not passion. Not love. Family. There was a difference. That night, he handed me a folder. "Sign here," he said. I glanced down. Stock transfer, 20%, under Lily's name. I didn't react, just signed. Millions in annual dividends, security, power. He slipped the papers into my bag gently. "I never divorced you legally," he admitted quietly. "I was afraid you'd hurt yourself again if I forced it." I looked at him carefully. "You're not afraid anymore?" "I'm afraid of losing you." I smiled faintly. "Adrian, you already did." He reached for my hand. "Rachel, I love you." I didn't pull away immediately, but I didn't hold him either. "That's not love," I said calmly. "That's realization." He went silent, and for the first time, he looked like a man who understood what he had actually lost. For a few days, things were quiet, too quiet. Adrian moved around the condo like someone trying to earn permission to exist. He fixed small things that weren't broken, reorganized cabinets, took Lily to school every morning and stood at the gate like she asked. Other parents noticed. Some whispered. Some smiled. Lily walked taller. That part hurt the most, because she didn't need grand gestures. She just needed consistency. One night, after Lily fell asleep, Adrian sat across from me at the dining table. "I ended the trial," he said. I looked up. "You announced it?" "Yes, and?" "They congratulated me. Of course they did. In their world, love was a competition. Loyalty was a trophy, and humiliation was entertainment. They think you proved something," he added. "What did I prove?" I asked. "That you're different." I leaned back in my chair. "I am." He hesitated. "Rachel." When I saw Vanessa turn on me so fast, I thought I understood betrayal, but I didn't. Not really. I waited. He swallowed. "I betrayed you first." There it was. Not defensive, not dramatic, just true. But acknowledgement didn't erase history. "You didn't just cheat," I said quietly. "You erased us." He nodded slowly. "I thought passion mattered more than stability. I thought excitement meant love. And now? I think love is who stays when there's nothing exciting left." That sounded good. Almost convincing. But I had learned something too. Love without respect is just dependency. The next week, his company publicly recovered. The fake bankruptcy ended. News outlets reported that the crisis had been exaggerated. The internet moved on quickly, but our situation didn't. One afternoon, Adrian came home holding a small velvet box. "I want you to have this," he said. Inside was the pink diamond necklace. $5 million resting in my palm. The prize. He watched my reaction carefully. "Is this supposed to mean something?" I asked. "It's yours. You earned it." I closed the box. I didn't stay for this. I know. That was the difference. 4 years ago, I would have believed the necklace was romantic. Now I saw it as leverage, security, options. I placed it in the safe. That evening, I found myself thinking about something Vanessa said before she collapsed publicly. "He's testing you." She was right, but she didn't realize something. I was testing him too. 2 days later, Adrian showed me his phone. He had removed himself from the True Hearts group chat, sent a final message before leaving. This wasn't a game, and I won't treat it like one again. Some of his friends mocked him. Some respected him. He didn't respond. That night, he asked softly, "Is there any chance we start over?" I didn't answer immediately, because the truth was complicated. Part of me still remembered the boy who fought bullies for me, the boy who promised protection, but another part remembered the hospital room, the early labor, the silence when I almost died. "I don't hate you," I said finally. His eyes lifted slightly. "But I don't love you the same way." He looked like he expected that. "What do you feel?" he asked. "Gratitude that you're being a father now. Relief that Lily has stability. Respect that you admitted the truth. And me? Your family." The word landed heavy. He flinched slightly. "Not husband," I continued. "Not soulmate, family." He ran his hand through his hair, frustrated but controlled. "I don't want to be your brother. You were the one who treated me like a convenience." Silence stretched. Then he surprised me. "I'll wait." "For what?" "For you to decide." That was the first time he didn't demand, didn't assume, didn't manipulate, just waited. Weeks passed. Lily adjusted quickly to the condo. Her laughter echoed through rooms that once felt stolen. I started managing one of the company's smaller branches. Adrian's father personally handed it to me. You were always capable, he told me quietly. I'm sorry we didn't protect you sooner. I nodded, because anger toward him had faded years ago. He had been kind to me once. He still was. With the dividends from Lily's shares, our future was secure. I didn't need Adrian, and that changed everything. One evening, after putting Lily to bed, I walked out onto the balcony. Adrian joined me. City lights stretched below. I read your old journals, he said suddenly. My body went still. You kept them? They were in your childhood room at my parents' house. He looked ashamed. I didn't know you loved me that much. I exhaled slowly. That girl doesn't exist anymore. I wish I understood sooner. I don't. He looked at me carefully. If Vanessa had passed the trial, I would have married her, he admitted again. I know. But she didn't, and I did. Yes, I turned to face him fully. Adrian, passing your test doesn't mean I want the prize. His expression shifted. You're not choosing me? I shook my head gently. I'm choosing peace. The words hurt him. I could see it, but they were honest. He nodded slowly. I'll still protect you, he said. I don't need protection anymore. For the first time in our entire history, that was true. He didn't argue. He just stood beside me quietly. And I realized something unexpected. Loving him had once been my weakness. Walking away from him was my strength. After that night on the balcony, something shifted. Not dramatically, not romantically, just quietly. Adrian stopped trying to win me back with grand gestures. No more dramatic speeches. No more late-night confessions about destiny. Instead, he focused on Lily. Every morning, he walked her to school. Every afternoon, he asked about her drawings, her stories, the small dramas of preschool life. He showed up, consistently. And I watched carefully, because showing up for a month is easy. Showing up without applause is harder. One evening, Lily crawled into my lap while I was reviewing branch reports on my laptop. Mom, she asked softly, is Daddy staying forever? I didn't answer immediately. Why do you ask? She shrugged. Because he looks sad when you call him uncle. I felt something tighten in my chest. Do you want him to stay forever? I asked. She thought about it seriously. I want him to stay if he's nice, she said, but if he makes you cry again, he has to go. I kissed her forehead. Deal. That night, I found Adrian in the kitchen, staring at nothing. She asked me today why I hurt you. He said quietly. What did you tell her? The truth, that I was selfish. That mattered. He wasn't rewriting history for her comfort. He was owning it. A week later, something unexpected happened. One of Adrian's former friends from the True Hearts group tried the same bankruptcy stunt on his girlfriend. It backfired. She left immediately. The story leaked online. Public opinion was brutal. The concept of wealthy men testing women for loyalty became a trending topic. Suddenly, Adrian's involvement resurfaced. Articles questioned his character. Comment sections filled with criticism. Another rich man playing games. Women aren't experiments. He read the headlines quietly. I deserve this, he admitted. Probably, I replied calmly. He almost smiled. You're not going to defend me? No. And I meant it. I wasn't his shield anymore. If he wanted redemption, he had to build it himself. That night, he posted another statement. No excuses, no blaming Vanessa. He admitted the bankruptcy trial was arrogant and cruel. He apologized publicly, not just to me and Lily, but to every woman who had been reduced to a loyalty test. The backlash softened slightly. Not gone, but quieter. Then he did something I didn't expect. He dissolved the investment group he shared with those friends, pulled his money, walked away. His father called me privately after that. He's changing, he said. I know, I answered. Do you forgive him? I looked out the window at Lily drawing with crayons on the living room floor. I'm not angry anymore, I said. But forgiveness doesn't mean restoration. There was a long pause on the other end. You're stronger than we realized, he finally said. No, I was just done breaking. A month passed. Vanessa disappeared from social media entirely. Rumors said she moved to another state, started over quietly. I didn't feel victory, just distance. One evening, Adrian handed me a small envelope. What's this? I asked. Revised paperwork. I opened it. He had legally transferred an additional 10% of his shares directly to Lily's trust. No conditions, no strings. You don't have to prove anything anymore, I said. I'm not proving, he replied. I'm repairing. There was a difference, and I saw it. Later that night, as we cleaned up after dinner, he said something unexpected. "If you ever meet someone else, I won't interfere." I stopped wiping the counter. "That's new. I don't own you," he said quietly. "I never did." 4 years ago, that sentence would have saved us. Now it simply acknowledged reality. I looked at him carefully. "And if I don't meet anyone, then I'll still be Lily's father. And your family. Family." He had finally understood what that word required. Consistency, respect, accountability, not possession, not ego. That weekend, we took Lily to the park. Simple afternoon. No photographers, no announcements, just swings and sticky hands. At one point, Lily ran ahead and tripped slightly. Adrian rushed forward instantly, kneeling to check her knees. She laughed and brushed him off. "I'm okay." He stayed kneeling a second longer, just watching her, like he was afraid she might disappear. I stood a few steps away, observing. For the first time in years, I didn't feel resentment watching them together, just caution. And something like peace. Later, as the sun dipped lower, Lily ran between us and grabbed both our hands. "Family picture," she announced loudly. A stranger nearby offered to take it. Adrian looked at me silently, asking permission without words. I nodded once. We stood side by side. Not lovers, not pretending, just parents. After the photo, Lily looked at it and smiled proudly. "This one's real," she said. And she was right. No staged bankruptcy, no fake loyalty tests, no performance, just truth. That night, after Lily fell asleep, Adrian lingered in the hallway outside her room. "You don't have to wait for me anymore," I said quietly. He turned. "I'm not waiting," he replied. "I'm staying." I studied his face carefully. No desperation, no manipulation, just steadiness. Maybe that was growth. Maybe it was regret. Maybe both. I didn't promise him anything, but I didn't push him away either. For now, that was enough, because love isn't proven by surviving poverty, it's proven by surviving truth. And truth had finally stripped us bare. Life settled into something almost ordinary. Adrian no longer slept on the couch. He moved into one of the smaller guest rooms at the condo, not because I invited him to my bed, but because Lily asked why her dad was camping every night. He didn't argue. He didn't assume. He just accepted the space I gave him. And that space was deliberate. One evening, as I reviewed quarterly numbers for the branch I now managed, Adrian stood by the doorway. "I've been offered a partnership in a new expansion," he said. "That's good," I replied without looking up. "It would mean more travel." I paused. "And?" "I won't take it if it disrupts Lily." I studied him carefully. 4 years ago, he would have taken the opportunity without hesitation. Work had always come first. Image second. Everything else somewhere after that. "You don't need my permission," I said. "I'm not asking permission," he answered. "I'm asking what's right." That was new. "Talk to Lily," I said. "If she's okay with it, then decide." He nodded. Later that night, I overheard their conversation from the hallway. He explained it simply. A few trips, a few days at a time. Lily thought about it seriously. "Will you still come to my school shows?" she asked. "Yes." "Will you still make pancakes on Saturdays?" "Yes." "Then it's okay," she decided. Children are simple. Adults complicate everything. A few days later, while organizing some old boxes, I found something unexpected, a printed screenshot from the True Hearts group chat. It was from the night Adrian first came to my apartment pretending to be bankrupt. One message stood out. "Vanessa won't last a week, but Rachel, she might surprise you." Another replied, "She loved him before he had power. That's dangerous. Dangerous." They were right. Not because I loved him blindly, but because I wasn't impressed by money, and that made me unpredictable in their world. I placed the paper back in the box. That version of me, the girl who loved him without calculation, was gone. But she wasn't weak. She was sincere, and sincerity scared people who only understood transactions. A few days later, Adrian returned from a short business trip. Lily ran into his arms at the airport. I stayed a few steps behind. He looked tired, but grounded. "I missed you both," he said quietly. I didn't respond with anything dramatic, just nodded. That night, after Lily fell asleep, he sat across from me again. "I used to think power meant control," he said. "Now I think it means responsibility." "You learned that the hard way," I replied. "I deserved the hard way." Silence settled between us comfortably this time. Not tense, not loaded, just quiet. Then he said something I didn't expect. If you ever want to divorce officially, I won't fight it. I looked at him carefully. Why now? Because staying married on paper doesn't mean you're mine. That honesty felt heavier than any apology. You're right, I said. We didn't finalize anything that night, but the option sat between us like an open door, and for the first time, I didn't feel trapped by it. Weeks passed. The media eventually stopped mentioning the bankruptcy trial. Adrian's company stabilized fully. My branch exceeded projected revenue. Lily thrived in her new school. And something else changed quietly. Adrian stopped trying to reclaim the past. He didn't bring up remarriage, didn't push for romance. He focused on being present. One evening, Lily fell asleep on the couch between us, her small hand resting on both of ours. Adrian looked at me softly. I don't expect you to love me the way you did, he said. That's good, I answered. He almost smiled. But I hope one day you see me as more than your daughter's father. I considered that carefully. Maybe, I said honestly, but that version of love would have to be built from scratch. I know. And if I decide I don't want to build it, I'll accept it. There it was again. Acceptance, not possession, not pride, just steady patience. Later that night, after carrying Lily to bed, I stood alone in the living room. I thought about the girl who once wrote love letters in secret journals, the woman who almost died believing she wasn't enough, the mother who worked 3 jobs to survive, and the version of me standing here now, secure, independent, unshaken. Adrian walked in quietly. You look peaceful, he said. I am. He hesitated. Even with me here? Yes, that surprised him, because my peace no longer depended on his absence, or his presence. It depended on me, and that was the biggest difference of all. He nodded slowly. I'm glad. As he turned to go to his room, he paused. Rachel? Yes, I'm grateful you didn't walk away. I looked at him steadily. I didn't stay for you. He accepted that. I know. And somehow, that made staying feel like my choice, not my sacrifice. For now, we weren't a love story. We weren't a tragedy. We were something quieter. 2 adults rebuilding trust for the sake of a child, and maybe, just maybe, for themselves. The official divorce papers arrived on a Tuesday morning. No drama, no shouting, just a clean envelope placed on the kitchen counter. Adrian had drafted them himself and left the final decision to me. I won't pressure you, he said quietly. If you sign, I'll respect it. I looked at the pages carefully. Everything was fair, custody shared equally. Lily's trust protected. No hidden clauses, no manipulation. 4 years ago, I had to fight for basic dignity. Now he was offering it freely. That difference mattered. I didn't sign immediately. Instead, I folded the papers and placed them back in the envelope. Not today, I said. He nodded. Not hopeful, not disappointed, just understanding. That evening, Lily had a small performance at school, a silly little stage show with cardboard crowns and glitter glue everywhere. Adrian showed up early. Front row, phone off, fully present. When Lily spotted him in the audience, her entire face lit up, and something inside me softened. Not because I loved him, but because my daughter no longer felt abandoned. After the performance, one of the mothers approached me quietly. You're Rachel, right? She asked. I nodded. I saw what happened online months ago. You handled it with so much strength. I smiled politely. Strength. That word used to feel like a compliment. Now it felt like survival. Later that night, Adrian and I sat on opposite ends of the couch while Lily slept. I've been thinking, he said. That's dangerous, I replied lightly. He almost laughed. I want to move out. I looked at him sharply. Why? Because I don't want you staying with me out of convenience. Silence filled the room. I don't want to blur lines, he continued. You deserve clarity. That caught me off guard. He wasn't running away. He was giving me space. You can stay, I said carefully, for Lily. I'll always stay for Lily, he replied. But I don't want you to feel obligated. The truth? Part of me had gotten used to him being there. Not romantically, but practically. Shared mornings, shared responsibilities, shared silence. You're not an obligation, I said finally. He looked at me, searching. Then what am I? I took a breath. You're someone rebuilding trust, slowly. That seemed to settle him. I can live with slowly, he said. Days turned into weeks. The tension between us faded into something steady, not passion, not resentment, something calmer. One afternoon, Lily came home upset. A classmate had said her parents weren't really together. She looked at us both seriously. "Are you and Daddy divorced or not?" Children don't tiptoe. Adrian and I exchanged a glance. "We're figuring it out," I said gently. Lily frowned. "Does that mean you still love each other?" The room felt small suddenly. Adrian didn't answer. He looked at me. "I chose honesty." "It means we love you more than anything," I said. "And we're learning how to be better adults." She thought about it. "Okay," she decided. "Just don't fight." "We won't," Adrian promised. And for once, that promise didn't feel fragile. Later that night, I found Adrian sitting alone in the guest room. He was holding one of my old journals again. "You shouldn't read those," I said quietly. He looked up, ashamed. "I know." I walked over and gently took it from his hands. "That girl loved you without conditions," I said. He nodded. I didn't understand how rare that was. And now? Now I understand I don't deserve it. That was honest. Painfully honest. "You don't need to deserve the past," I said. "You just need to respect the present." He stood slowly. "I don't want to be the man who lost you because of pride. You already were," I replied calmly. He didn't argue. He just accepted it. That acceptance changed something in me. Because arrogance had always been his greatest flaw. And humility, it looked different on him. Sincere. Quiet. Weeks later, on a calm Sunday morning, Adrian surprised me again. He placed a small folder on the table. "What now?" I asked cautiously. "New board decision," he said. "I stepped down from daily operations. I'll remain an investor, but I'm not leading anymore." I stared at him. "You worked your entire life for that position." "I know." "Why?" He looked toward Lily's room. "Because success without balance destroyed everything once." This wasn't a dramatic sacrifice. It was measured, thoughtful. He was choosing presence over prestige, and that said more than any speech. That night, as we cleaned the kitchen together, our hands brushed accidentally. Neither of us pulled away immediately. The air shifted. Not intense, not overwhelming, just different. He looked at me carefully. "I'm not asking you to love me again," he said. "Good. I'm asking for the chance to earn respect." I studied him. "You're earning it." That was the first genuine progress. Not built on guilt, not built on money, built on behavior. And behavior is harder to fake than words. Before bed, Lily ran into our room. His room. My room. Still undefined. "Family hug?" she demanded. We both laughed softly. And for a moment, standing there together with her arms wrapped around our waists, it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel staged. It felt real. But real doesn't mean romantic. Real means honest. And honesty was finally something we could stand on. The change between us didn't happen in a dramatic moment. It happened in small ones. Like the morning Adrian burned the pancakes and didn't blame the stove, or the afternoon he stayed up helping Lily build a cardboard castle for school, even though he had a video meeting in an hour, or the night he sat beside me quietly while I reviewed branch performance reports, not offering advice, not trying to take control, just sitting there. Present. One evening, I found the divorce envelope again in my drawer, still unsigned. I carried it into the living room. Adrian noticed immediately. "If you're ready," he said calmly, "I'll respect it." I sat down across from him. "I have a question, okay? If we divorce officially, what changes?" He thought carefully before answering. "Nothing about Lily," he said first. "Nothing about my support. Nothing about the shares. Nothing about responsibility. And us? That depends on you." It wasn't manipulation. It wasn't a plea. It was honest uncertainty. I studied his face. The arrogance I once resented was gone. In its place was something steadier. Humility. "I don't want to go backward," I said. "Neither do I. I won't pretend we're some perfect story. We're not. And I won't be tested again. Not emotionally. Not financially." "You won't," he said firmly. Silence settled between us. Then he added something unexpected. "I've already spoken to my friends." I raised an eyebrow. "The same ones from the trial?" "Yes. And?" I told them I was wrong. That loyalty isn't something you test. It's something you protect. That mattered. More than I expected, because walking away from toxic patterns is harder than walking away from people. A few days later, something happened that tested everything. A woman from Adrian's past resurfaced online. Not Vanessa. Someone before her. Old photos, old rumors, headlines hinting at another scandal. It wasn't even new, just recycled gossip, but it spread quickly. Reporters started calling again. The narrative shifted subtly. Is Rachel just another chapter? I watched it unfold calmly. 4 years ago, this would have destroyed me. Now, it annoyed me. Adrian walked into the kitchen holding his phone. I'll shut it down, he said immediately. You don't need to, I replied. He looked surprised. You're not upset? I'm tired of reacting. He studied me carefully. I don't want you dragged into this again. I won't be. That was the difference. Public noise no longer defined my worth. Later that evening, Lily crawled into my lap again. Mom? She asked. Why do people talk about Daddy on the internet? Because some people think they know stories they don't understand, I answered gently. Do they know our story? No, I said firmly. Only we do. She seemed satisfied with that. After she fell asleep, Adrian approached me slowly. Thank you, he said. For what? For not assuming the worst. I met his eyes. Trust isn't blind anymore, I said, but it's not broken either. That night, something shifted again. He didn't ask for forgiveness. He didn't ask for love. He simply reached for my hand. And this time, I didn't pull away. Not because I was overwhelmed, not because I felt pressured, but because I wanted to see what steady felt like. We didn't kiss. We didn't make promises. We just sat there, hands linked, quiet. And that quiet felt stronger than passion ever did. A week later, Adrian surprised me again. He organized a small dinner. Not extravagant, not public, just his parents, Lily, and me. During dessert, his father stood up. I made mistakes, he said openly. I should have intervened sooner. I should have protected Rachel and Lily better. The room fell silent. Adrian didn't interrupt, didn't defend himself. He let the acknowledgement sit. His mother reached for my hand. You've always been family, she whispered. For the first time in years, I believed it. That night, as Adrian walked me to the balcony again, he spoke quietly. I don't want to remarry out of guilt. Good, I said. I don't want to remarry to win. Even better. I want to build something healthy. I looked at him carefully. And if I say no? I'll still build something healthy for Lily. There it was again. No control, no ego, just accountability. I took a deep breath. I'm not ready for marriage, I said honestly. He nodded. But I'm not closed either. That was the most I could offer. And for now, it was enough. Later that night, as I lay in bed, I realized something important. I didn't feel like a woman who had survived betrayal. I felt like a woman who had reclaimed power. Adrian wasn't my savior. He wasn't my prize. He wasn't my punishment. He was a man learning, and I was a woman who no longer needed saving. The turning point didn't come with a proposal. It came with paperwork. 3 months after the bankruptcy trial ended, Adrian invited me to his office. Not the main tower everyone knew, but a smaller building where he had quietly moved his operations after stepping down from daily leadership. No cameras, no assistants hovering, just a clean desk and 2 chairs. I want to close this chapter properly, he said. I sat down across from him, calm. He slid a folder toward me. I've restructured everything, he continued. Lily's trust is untouchable. Your shares are permanent, and I've legally separated personal assets from any future partnerships. No one can interfere with what belongs to you again. I opened the folder slowly. He wasn't exaggerating. It wasn't a romantic gesture. It was structural, protective, responsible. You didn't have to do this, I said. Yes, I did, he replied quietly. Because 4 years ago, I let someone stand between you and stability. He didn't say Vanessa's name anymore. She wasn't the center of the story anymore. He was. I'm not asking you to reward me, he added. I'm making sure Lily never pays for my mistakes. That was the right answer. We left the office together, not touching, not performing, just walking side by side. That afternoon, Lily had a parent activity at school. A simple thing, parents and kids building small Lego animals together. She insisted we both attend. As we sat on tiny chairs meant for 5-year-olds, Lily handed Adrian the instruction booklet. You follow directions badly, she informed him seriously. I laughed before I could stop myself. He smiled. You supervise then, he told her. For the first time, the 3 of us weren't a fractured image trying to look whole. We were just present. Later that evening, after Lily fell asleep, Adrian stood in the living room holding the divorce envelope again. I never wanted to trap you, he said. You didn't, I replied. He looked at me carefully. I wanted time. You had it. And now? I took the envelope from his hand. I opened it, and I signed. He didn't flinch, didn't protest, just nodded slowly. You're choosing freedom, he said. Yes. And me? I folded the signed papers calmly. I'm choosing you separately. He frowned slightly. I don't understand. I don't need to be your wife to be your partner, I explained. If we build something, it won't be because a contract forces it. It'll be because we both wake up and choose it. Silence filled the room. Then something softened in his expression. You're stronger than I ever realized, he said. I had to be. A few weeks later, the divorce was finalized quietly. No press, no spectacle, just signatures and confirmation. And strangely, after it was official, nothing collapsed. He still came over every morning for breakfast, still walked Lily to school, still stayed for dinner most nights. But now it wasn't obligation. It was choice. One evening, months later, we stood on the balcony again, the same place where I once told him I was choosing peace. I used to think losing money was terrifying, he said quietly. But losing you was worse. You didn't lose me, I corrected. You lost access. He almost smiled. That's fair. He turned toward me. No more games, he said. No more tests. No more pride. I studied him carefully. Then prove it every day, I answered. He nodded once. I will. And he did, not in dramatic ways, not with diamonds, but with consistency, with honesty, with showing up. A year passed. Lily grew taller. My branch expanded. Adrian built something quieter but stronger than before. And one night, as Lily slept and the city lights shimmered below us, he spoke again. I'm not asking you to marry me, he said. I'm asking if you see a future with me. I didn't answer immediately, because the truth mattered. Yes, I said finally. But not because I passed your test, he swallowed. Then why? Because you failed it. He blinked and chose to change anyway. That was the difference. Anyone can reward loyalty. Few people confront their own flaws. He stepped closer, slowly, giving me time to pull away if I wanted. I didn't. Not because I was the same girl who wrote secret love letters, but because I was a woman who had rebuilt herself. And now, I wasn't choosing him out of need. I was choosing him out of strength. Lily stirred inside her room. We both turned instinctively toward the sound. He looked at me and smiled softly. Family? He asked. Yes, I answered. But this time, it wasn't a performance. It wasn't staged. It wasn't a trial. It was earned.